Welcome, Caleb's Basketball Pod. Here we go. Final preview of the play-in here. We have two games. Winners of these games will be the 8th seed respectively in each conference. So let's start with the East. These games go down tomorrow night, Friday on ESPN, I believe. In our game out East, winner playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in a 7-game series will be the Miami Heat at the Atlanta Hawks. Miami comes in as your 10th seed. Atlanta comes in as your 8th seed. Of course, we know they are fighting both to be that final 8th seed of the season. Okay, so straight up, I thought Chicago, throughout the season, they were the better team over the Miami Heat. But I also said when it came down to playoff time and strategy and strategizing that it's hard to beat Erik Spoelstra. And it's hard to beat him in strategizing, especially in this playoff type atmosphere. And we saw Chicago is way too young of a team to do that. But at that same point, Atlanta's been better than Chicago all season, besides these last maybe 8 games where Chicago went 7 of 8. Very impressive. I'm not taking anything away from them, but Atlanta does have that superstar that Chicago lacks. Atlanta has their guy. They have Trae Young, that superstar. Chicago didn't have that. So you need at least one of those guys to, in my opinion, win and compete in the playoffs. And like I said, they have that, as where Chicago did not. This game, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a lot closer than both the Chicago, Miami, and the Atlanta-Orlando games where we saw those were both blowouts. I'm going with Atlanta on this. I do love Erik Spoelstra's strategizing, especially for one-off games, just one game. I believe he's probably one of the best, if not the best. We see Miami always have success in these play-ins. But just looking around at teams, I think Atlanta with Trae Young has a little bit of the advantage. And Trae Young did have a great game and he got ejected against Orlando. At that point, I believe he's going to bounce back. I would be surprised if we don't see a 40-piece from Trae Young in this game against Miami. And it's in Atlanta. I'm going with Atlanta on this one. I think it's going to be really competitive. And there's also that slight chance that Miami wins. Either way, they will take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we'll see where that goes. Big game, and I'm excited to see who wins. I want to announce before we talk about our final Western Conference play-in. I want to talk about the fact that Damian Lillard has been cleared from the blood clot and he's no longer taking blood thinners. That's great news. And there is a possibility he plays in round 1 or round 2 of the NBA playoffs. Great news. I hope he does. And I hope we do get to see Milwaukee at full strength. But I think that puts more pressure on Milwaukee because I think now if Milwaukee don't win, with Lillard and Giannis both playing in the playoffs, if they don't make noise in the playoffs, I do think Giannis is out. But that's just my opinion. I mean, hey, who knows? I think Giannis, at the end of the day, he wants to win. He wants to be put back in that championship style of basketball. He don't want to play this, not competitive. I don't want to say losing ball, but it's not. It's mid ball. You're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. People say East is weak compared to the West. This or that. You're the 5th seed out there. I want to say Giannis wants to compete where he's 1 or 2, where he's fighting for championships every game, and I just don't see that being a possibility right now. I think it could be eventually, but right now, as we speak, it's not plausible in Milwaukee. You have to build the team, you have to change up. I think you have to get a little younger. You have to get more playmakers and more stars, because I don't think him and Dame's enough. And maybe get some more shooting around them too. And also replace Brook Lopez with a younger big. I think that would really help Milwaukee's defense and offense, to be honest. But nonetheless, now let's jump to our Western Conference play-in game. We have the Dallas Mavericks, after dismantling the Kings. They will take on the Memphis Grizzlies, and we saw a really good close game between Memphis and Golden State for that 7th seed, and we saw Golden State come away with it. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler had amazing games. How many of those games do they have put up to beat the Houston Rockets? Interesting topic. Stay tuned because the preview episodes are coming up and they should drop before the play-in for each. I try to get one for Saturday's games, and then I try to get another episode for Sundays, for the games on Sunday, for those series on each day. Try to get a preview for the series that start on Saturday and a preview for the series that start on Sunday. But yeah, stay tuned with that. Tune in. First episode should drop tomorrow. It'd be nice maybe get some guests up talking about the playoffs and get their opinion on it too. But if not, I'm going to be right here breaking it down like always every week, and we're going to give you in-depth good basketball here. Okay, going back to what I was saying. This play-in matchup, Dallas and Memphis. I believe Dallas was going to win. I said that. But I did not think it was going to be a blowout that turned into be. Memphis, like I said, they fought hard against the Golden State Warriors. 2 amazing games sealed the deal for them. A 5-second violation called late. Debatable on whether it actually was or not, but that's up for debate, but it doesn't even matter now. Thing is, it's in Memphis. I think Memphis has the matchup. I think Memphis has an all-around better team. But I keep mentioning this, and I'm not trying to harp on it. Memphis has been struggling. They've gone downhill since the loss of Taylor Jenkins when he was fired. They were around that 4th or 5th area. They dropped all the way to 8th, with on the final day not a chance to go higher than 8. That's tough. That's difficult. They have not been that same team. We saw Ja Morant twist his ankle. I think Dallas has a chance to beat Memphis, and I think it's going to be a close game. At the end of the day, I'm going with Memphis. Not sure how much of a threat either Dallas or Memphis poses to Oklahoma, to be honest with you. But again, that's for another episode. Stay tuned. But yeah, I'm expecting 2 good games tomorrow night. And I'm expecting a Memphis and Atlanta victory, and I'm expecting them to be our respective 8th seeds. But at that same point, 2 great coaches, Jason Kidd for the Dallas Mavericks, Alex Spoelstra for the Miami Heat. Their game planning could very well turn the tables and bring both 10th seeds to be the 8th seed by the time the playoffs start, and that would not be surprising. But my predictions are Memphis and Atlanta. And I believe we're going to see huge games from Trae Young and Ja Morant. I also believe huge games from Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo too. And I think they're both going to go down to the wire. And this is what you want. This is playoff basketball. This is what basketball is all about. Couple things I want to hit on real quick before I get out of here. I don't want to go too deep in on playoff series. But let me just throw out a couple player names for the playoffs. And then I'm going to give just a little tidbit on a little prediction of what could happen with them. We're going to do 3 out east and 3 out west. Let's start with our 3 out west. Let's start with Kawhi Leonard. Little tidbit on Kawhi Leonard. The ceiling for him is to be the best player in the playoffs. We've seen this before. It would not be a surprise, and it's not much of a bold prediction to say Kawhi could be the best player in the playoffs, and that's the bold prediction for him. The max and the ceiling is best player in the playoffs. The low is getting injured, because it seems to happen, and missing the playoffs. So we have our max, we have our low. We have both. Where do I think it's going to stand? I think we are seeing one of the healthiest Kawhi Leonards we've ever seen. And at that point, Clippers are tough outing, and don't be surprised if they go all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I do think, and we'll get into it on our playoff episode, but all in all, healthy teams, I would have Lakers and Clippers 1 and 2 as in chances to go to the NBA Finals from Western Conference. Just from seeing how they play and seeing just the style, I would have them 1 and 2. But that's big possibility. You have to prove it. It's easy for anyone to say it, but you have to prove it. And that's what Western Conference playoffs are about. Oklahoma's been dominant all year, but you have to prove you can dominate and you can beat LeBron James in 7 games. You have to prove you can beat Kawhi Leonard, James Harden in 7 games. You have to prove you can beat Luka in 7 games, because you haven't done it so far. So interesting to see. And that's Kawhi Leonard, ceiling, Best player in the playoffs. Bold prediction, best player in the playoffs. Next one, we are going to go to LA. Luka Doncic, we're going to talk about the other LA team, I should mention. Luka Doncic, ceiling. He can be the best player on the Lakers, or he can be the downfall of the Lakers with his inability to defend. That's your two possibilities. Bold prediction is he is going to... what's a bold prediction for Luka Doncic? We're going to say he's going to lead the Lakers to the NBA Finals. That's our bold prediction for Luka Doncic. And that's what we're going to go with on that one. Let's see. Fourth player out west. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let's see. The ceiling is lead a very young Thunder team to the NBA Finals, possibly a championship. And the low is inability to prove you're more than a good regular season team and being dropped in the second round. Bold prediction is I'm going to say the Thunder get dropped in the second round. My bold prediction is OKC goes home in the second round and Shai does not lead them to the NBA Finals. Now let's go out east. Jason Tatum, ceiling. Winning another NBA championship, proving you are the best championship player in the Eastern Conference. Floor, bottom, is getting eliminated in the second round to the Knicks because it's possible. The bold prediction is he is going to be the MVP of both the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. That's the bold prediction for Jason Tatum. Now let's jump over to Donovan Mitchell out east. And we are going to say the ceiling is leading Cleveland to the NBA Finals, something that no one for Cleveland has done with LeBron James. In Cleveland, the bottom is getting upset from playoff inexperience in the second round to the Milwaukee Bucks or the Indiana Pacers. The bold prediction for him is he is going to be the best player in the whole Eastern Conference Finals. Not saying I think it's possible Boston or Cleveland, possibly even New York, go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to say if Boston plays Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals, Donovan Mitchell is going to be the best player on the floor. Bold prediction. Let's go last bold prediction. Let's go Jalen Brunson. As Port calls him Big Body Brunson. Ceiling. Leading New York past the Boston Celtics into the Eastern Conference Finals. Floor getting upset and eliminated by the Detroit Pistons in the first round. I am going to go bold prediction. And as much as I want to say they could beat the Celtics, that's a really tough task. And it's the same thing I'm saying with Mitchell and Cleveland. Boston's the overwhelming favorites against everyone at this point. And I believe no matter who even comes out of the West, they're still the overwhelming favorites if they are in the NBA Finals and, of course, they're healthy. So, ceiling and bold prediction for Jalen Brunson. He leads the New York Knicks to a 7 game series against the Boston Celtics and has a shot to win it at the end of the game. Whether he does it or not, I'm not going to call at this moment. But the bold prediction is Jalen Brunson takes the Knicks all the way to the Game 7 in Boston against the Boston Celtics and has a chance to win the game late. Thank you for joining and thank you for watching along as I did my bold prediction in ceiling and floor NBA Player Edition.